I'm just waiting for Facebook and everywhere else to connect.
From where I grew up, I guess, huh? Or something like that.
10-4, big buddy. Did
I
I
vote
get?
for Buddy.
I just got that. And
10-4, little buddy. On it.
sweet. I'm just waiting for the last page to connect.
My hat straight. How's my makeup?
Your makeup looks good.
You want some lipstick on?
No thanks. Only if, never mind.
Yeah, don't say anything like that right now. This is not the right time to do it.
She's Eve. I bait her all the time.
He's my second dad. He's a pervert.
I'm not a pervert.
Hey, watch it now. Now we're going. So, and some people are already starting to share. And let me find my pretty little button. And we are back. Here I am, Fly Navarro, with the No BS World Tour, coming at you live on social media, where we do not want to hear no BS other than us talking about the normal BS you see on the dock. Today I am joined by Captain Skip Rudolph of Adios Charters out of Montauk, New York. Captain Skip, how the hell are you today, brother?
Any better? I'd have a twin brother. Feeling pretty good. Look, I can't show you. Can you see those red balls in the background over there?
No, I
Here,
can't.
let me turn this a little bit.
What are those, tomatoes?
Those red balls right there?
What are those?
I wasn't able to go fishing the other day, but you can see the one hanging there. So what I did was I caught me a COVID virus ball. And I got it hung up here. I weighed it. It was 8.7 ounces, and it's a genuine COVID ball, and I got it right there.
So, is this something that you're gonna keep rolling for a while to make sure that you're in control of it? Me personally,
Yeah.
that's what I would do.
That's of course because too much baloney about that.
Actually, you just had a hello, Captain Skip, from Paul up in Connecticut. I don't know if you know Paul.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, he's joined in.
How are you, Paul?
He's
Glad you're in.
he is one of our big fans. He joins us every day, and I have to say thank you for that. That's a really big thing that he joins us in. There's a lot of guys that join in every day, and gals. Who is Sushil?
She is one of our local bartenders, and she's just a very close friend. Her father passed away, so I kind of took over the role of being her dad.
Well, she says, "Hi, Skip. You look great."
She's something else.
Is she?
Just when I got two daughters of my own, and I have my wife, and what I needed was another daughter. What I really needed was a boy, but that's okay. I'll take my girls.
Hey, listen.
I needed an ally.
You take whatever God gives you.
Oh, I do, and I'm happy as could be. My girls love me.
That's the way it rolls. Whatever God decides He wants to give you, you just love Him any way you can. So,
I'm blessed. I'm really blessed.
So before I go any farther, there's a couple things. There's some housekeeping I got to do. Number one, you participate in the FFO every year, Freedom Fighter organization. There you go, Freedom Fighter Outdoors, where you take veterans out fishing every year. You donate one of your days on your boat. Wait a second. Colin O'Neill is jumping in there, and he says, "Hello, Skip. Who loves you?"
Yeah, Telly does. Telly.
Deli says, "What about me?" So you participate in Freedom Fighter Outdoors every year, and
Yes,
Freedom Fighter Outdoors is also partnered up with Save the Charter Boats, which tonight at 8 o'clock, they're going to be raffling off a day of fishing with you.
I'm excited.
So, and for those of you that are not familiar, and I know he's around here somewhere, he better be watching. Cody or Brooke is watching, and if you could put up the Facebook page where you guys are going to be doing the raffle tonight, what they do is give everybody an opportunity to buy a square or several squares with numbers on them, and then they do a random drawing for a day of fishing with you to be held sometime after we're all allowed to go out on boats again.
Yeah, once we're let out of prison.
Exactly. There's Brooke. She just put it up. Save the charter boats. Richie has just joined in. He goes, Skip, it's Richie Mack. Hey.
One of my favorites. He's a pipe fitter from New York City, and they are the funnest charter you'd ever want to have on your boat.
Really?
They know how to have a good time. He brings me great cigars.
So
he's a buen amigo.
I have, and I don't see him here yet, and I have a package that needs to go out for him. His name is Danny Iberg. He lives in Staten Island. He is retired NYPD. And there's a group of them that all go fishing on one of the headboats out of Staten Island. And he joins in every day. And my brother lives in Queens. So I told my brother next time, once we open up, I'll take him and my nephew, who's 7 years old. I'll take them out and do a little drift fishing there. And give my nephew a chance to go out fishing for the first time. So
I'll tell you what, you drive another 125 miles, I'll take you out.
You better watch it. I'm gonna hold you to it.
Let me do it.
I love it. Cody, could you do me a favor? I see you on there. Could you put the link on that so everybody can follow it tonight at 8 o'clock? And if you haven't, Skip, have you watched Cody and his wife Brooke raffle these, do these number raffles yet?
Not yet. I haven't. I didn't even. I just heard about it, and I want to. Yeah, I want to watch it. Yeah.
This is you find a number that's already been picked, and you just keep typing that same number in over and over and over again, because what happens is Brooke beats the shit out of Cody with her yardstick. So she gives him one warning. Hey, if people keep repeating the same number, I'm gonna hit him with the stick. And then suddenly the number 29 just keeps popping up 200 or 300 times. I don't know what the hell that's all about. And
whipping stick today.
Exactly. You watch a good old-fashioned whooping. I love it.
Yeah, he mentioned that today earlier. I saw that. I was cracking up.
Listen, I've never been accused of not being a pot stirrer. So I love to cause some trouble. That's okay. It's kind of like being on a boat in between bites. You got to do something to make sure everybody has a good time.
That's right.
All right. So I'm going to take this in stages, so to make sure I don't miss anything. And if we get there he is right there, Danny Iberg. Just joined in. Danny, we were just talking about you.
Not all bad either.
No, it was actually pretty good, man, for once. But it's funny, he just joined in because his ears were ringing. Happy Maritime Day to you too, Danny. I'm speaking with Captain Skip Rudolph out of Montauk aboard the Adios. So anyway, let's break it down. Tell us a little bit about your charter boat and your charter operation.
Well, I came up in '79 from Miami, and I needed a change of scenery. Things were a little crazy back there at those times and everything, and so I came up with this guy who had brought his boat down to Miami for the winter. We got to talking, and I helped him out. I showed him a few rigs. I showed him a few spots and helped him out. He's a really nice guy. His name was Joe Ritzy. We lost him 2 years ago now. He's passed on. But a really nice guy. And so I said, if you don't hear from your mate, I'll be interested. I'll go on up there with you. And so I came up there, and I was blown away. I mean, yellowfin tunas, giant tunas, striped bass. Wasn't really good, the striped bass back then, but pollock, codfish, flounder, fluke. It was amazing, and it was a summer village, and so we were docked right at Tuma's Dock, which was like the main dock, and I fell in love with the place, and of course it was summertime and lots of tourists, and there was lots of fish in the sea, is all I'm going to say. Anyway,
Long Island during the summer. That's all you have to say.
But the coolest thing that back then was the white marlin would get up on the surface on what we would call a popcorn day. It would be greasy calm, and they don't do that down south, but they would have their fins out of the water like sharks. In fact, I thought it was a shark. I go, man, it looks like a shark with a funny fin. That ain't a shark. That's a white marlin. I said, what? And I look over. There's another one, and I was just so impressed with the place. So Joe ended up selling the boat. He wasn't doing that good financially. And the owner of the boat that I now own approached me and said, hey, my mate Ray is going to get his own boat and have his own charter business. What are you doing? Is Joe going to fish next year? I said, I don't think so. I think he's selling the boat. He goes, would you like to mate for me? And I looked at Phil. I said, I'd be honored. And that's how it started. And I went to work for Phil Lewis. And we had a blast. And it ended up Phil and his wife Tina were my wife's godparents. And that's how I met my wife.
Funny how that kind of stuff happens.
I couldn't afford a Ridgeway boat, so I married one.
Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
And we've had a fine life together, and that's how I met her. But my operation is I've toned it down. We used to go offshore tuna fishing, sharking. I still like sharking. It's fun, and it's interesting. But when the fuel went crazy, I changed things around to keep it inshore, and I kept the trips mostly half-day trips. That way I was still able to make a living without spending tons of money on the diesel fuel running offshore. And the offshore fishing changed. It became a little more spotty. It wasn't as prolific as it was back in the day in the 80s. And it just made more sense. So I put on my sign, bring the kids. So I started cultivating, bringing families, businessmen, corporate stuff, where I would just have, meetings on the boat, and these guys would, and I developed a clientele, and but we do a lot of inshore fishing, mostly striped bass, bluefish, summer flounder, which is a fluke, black sea bass, which are big and delicious up here, and we do some cod fishing. There's still some spots where you can get some cod, but it's mostly I stay between Montauk and Block Island, and when we do go sharking, it's only 20, 25 miles. You don't even have to go that far anymore. Sharks are a lot closer than Phil told me in the later years. He called me up when I moved on to the private boat. He says, we've been driving by them for years. He goes, I caught one 12 miles offshore. You better not let the people on the beach hear that. So, it's been a good life. The boat I took over in end of '99, but my first season was in 2000, and I had to take a sawzall and cut the whole house off the top of off the gunnel, off the hull, and I had to rebuild the whole boat because it was just rotten. It was built with plywood, layers of plywood with polyester resin, and I did it with all West System, and maybe I'll get a discount from West System next time I have to do some fiberglass work.
Oh, wait a second. Let's see. You know how we can do something like this? This next story brought to you by West System Epoxy.
Yes,
all right, go for it.
Even if you mix it wrong, it'll still go right.
It'll kick off.
Well, anyway, I redid it with all Philippine and Honduras mahogany, and it came out pretty good. It hasn't let go in 20. This will be my 20th season this year, and everything's held together. I did it old school, silicon bronze screws and all.
That's awesome. Now we have Paul has just jumped in and said, ask him about the race rock striper fishing.
Oh boy, they don't call it the race for nothing. Tide like you have never seen. 4 knots. And you got 25 boats all at night fishing this narrow little passage. I'll just say it gets quite interesting.
That's all you got to say. I could only imagine. All right, with 4 knots of current.
It's amazing because you got the Long Island Sound meeting Block Island Sound, and it's a rocky. There's 2 openings actually, and that water pours through there like gangbusters, man. It's wild. So you get 25 boats or more, 50 boats. It's interesting.
Now, are they mainly anchored and chunking, or are they trolling through there?
No, you run up and you make drifts and you let the tide carry you. And what they do is they use a rig with it's like you use a dropper loop, 3-way swivel, and you don't need to use a bait. Some guys like to drift eels through there, but it's just so fast the current. You just put a bucktail with the pork rind on there and you get the bite.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. Now Richie Mack is asking, what about that hammerhead inshore, Skip?
So, okay.
So this is what happens when you have audience participation. They
Good
ask
question,
you.
Richie. Good job, Richie. They'll love this one. So we take photos when we get back to the dock, and we had just went out. We caught these ling. We had some codfish, and it was an all-day trip. Inshore was kind of slow, so I said, let's try something different. Let's go catch some cod. And we ended up catching some really nice ling. And so the mate was going to fillet them. Brian was going to fillet them on the way in. And so I said, wait, before that, we got to get our picture. Brian goes, yeah, we got to get our picture. And Richie goes, well, how are you going to photobomb us? I said, well, I guess I'll. It was real calm, flat calm. I said, give me a minute, I'll think about it. Well, I took my shirt off, down to my boxer shorts, and I jumped over the side. And I said, get the cameras ready. And they had the fish I said, line up all the fish on the cutting board. And they lined all the fish on the cutting board. And I jumped over the side. And they all looked at me like I was nuts. I swam back behind the boat, and I gave it 2 thumbs up in the water behind the boat. They get the picture. Everybody's howling. So I get back in the boat, and I, dry off. I put it into gear. And I didn't go 50 yards. And there was about I guess it was about 8 or 9 foot great gray.
Oh, my gosh.
Swimming by. And Richie goes, oh, you want to go back in the water now? I said, no, I'm good. Good story. I do for my customers.
That is awesome. That is awesome. You know what?
We like to have fun. You gotta realize, on a charter boat nowadays, with all these restrictions, we're in the entertainment business. And
absolutely.
They don't want to get yelled and screamed at. We get some tense moments, though, when you got a big shark on and stuff, when he does a hard right or a hard left, just like you've seen with the many blue marlin you've caught, And, but, for the most part, the people just want to laugh. And you make it a fun event and a memorable experience. And that's what we like to do.
That's, I got interviewed 3 hours ago, and somebody was asking me, well, tell me about fishing. And I said, well, the biggest misconception is people confuse fishing with catching. Catching is the actual reeling in the fish. Fishing is hanging out with your friends, laughing, having a good time, making those relationships, making, just the time that you spend with people. I mean, I have made more friends in this industry fishing next to them or with them. You build a brotherhood, which is huge. And that's where people get confused. Oh, we only caught this today. It's like, wait a second. Think about what you did today, really. Who'd you spend time with? Think about the pictures. I mean, I know I spend more time taking pictures and posting pictures about us having a good time and goofing off than what we caught. Right. Because that's more important to me. Because you're right. We are in the entertainment business. Yep. I tell everybody I'm just like a comedian, but shorter. So.
There you go. We're blessed that we have a lot of different species that we can play with. So if it's slow, like the tide isn't right for the striped bass, we'll go do something else. If the tide's a little slow, like Phase of the Moon, oh man, we'll go fluking, because you don't want that roaring tide with the fluke. You want it to be like medium, and you got to realize I'm up here in New York. I got to send them home with fish, otherwise they'll lynch my southern backside.
You know what? Good point. They got to go back with something. They got to
Yep.
go back with something.
And some days it's easy. Some days they can, you know how it is. Some days it's easy, and other days you got to work for them, you know. But even when the slowest days, when the tide is wrong and the wind against the tide and stupid stuff like that, that really affects the presentation and the fishing, you still end up catching them something. They know you tried your hardest, and that's all you can do. Just give them 110% and let her fly. No pun intended.
None taken. None taken. So actually, that just reminds me. I got to shut this. I can hear that in the background. Okay. Now I do have this question because I know Montauk has always been well known for a couple of things, but tell us a little bit. And I'm curious about this. This is why I'm asking. Tell us a little bit about having some encounters with bluefin tuna out of there.
Well,
sorry, had to go there.
Okay, my first encounter was with Joe, my first season up, and we had a guy and a girl. We just had two people, the husband and wife, and we would anchor. It was amazing, but in the beginning of the season in June, you would troll for him. And coming from Florida, I rigged the mullet chain, a daisy chain of mullet, just a straight chain. And this guy goes to the bathroom. He's in the bathroom, and the husband, and bing, the rod goes off, and his wife gets in the chair, and she ends up fighting the tuna, and she does a great job. And the guy was a little put out, like, well, we hollered for you. He was down in the bathroom doing something wrong. And anyway, so we get the fish. He comes up to the boat. This is my first giant tuna now. And, I mean, we had one on at the South Sewer when I ran the hurricane out of Baker's Hall over, but that dumped the 6-0 in about 2.5 seconds. So we get the fish up the boat, and the snap swivel comes out of the water, and it's open. You've seen that before.
Unfortunately, yep. Yes.
So the swivel's coming up, and it's like, I said, I can almost get it, Joe. I'm almost get it. So I reach out, I get it, I close the snap swivel, and Joe goes, don't let go to leader. Well, being a good mate, I obeyed the order. That thing took off. I held on. My arms are actually 2 inches longer. But the thing flipped over backwards, and as big as Joe was, he was a big guy. He was down off that bridge and stuck him with the straight gaff with the rope in like 2 seconds as he came back, and I was hooked.
Wow! And I'm assuming that was wire back then.
Wire, yep, 15 wire.
Wow!
There was no gun. There was no shyness about it back then.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. No stretch, no nothing. That fish takes off, and he can't do anything but flip backwards.
Oh yeah, it stretched me out pretty good. But that was my first one. And then another funny story with Joe. It was our birthday. We had a double birthday party for me and him. It was September. So the next day, Joe's a little hungover, and so we go to Cartwright. We anchor up. We catch these gigantic bluefish. 12, 15 pounders, sometimes 18. Maybe even close to 20 on these drails. These big leads with 2 hooks. They were deadly rigs. Deadly. You had to be careful. You get impaled. And we chop up the herring, and I was chumming a little bit because we had a bunch of bait left over. I was getting rid of it. It was the end of the season, coming to the close. And the customer goes, "Oh, there's a porpoise out back behind us." I go, "Yeah, okay." And I was a little fuzzy too because I was at the party. But so soon enough, he goes, "Oh, there it goes again." And I look and I see the boil. Now I'm looking and I'm waiting for him to come up again, and he don't come up. And the next thing you know, we got about a 900-pounder bluefin behind the boat, and he's eating the chunks I'm throwing off the boat. So I hollered at Joe, who's sleeping on the bridge, on his stomach, sleeping on the deck. "Joe, we got a giant tuna. Get the rod." Yeah. I ain't getting up. Joe, the customer goes, "Hey, Cap, you got to get down here. There's a giant tuna behind the boat." Joe stands up. He looks. He sees this thing. He's get the 12-0, pandemonium. But we could not get, we couldn't get, he was eating those little chunks, and I stuck the hook in there best I could, but I didn't have any styrofoam to counteract the weight of the hook, and he wouldn't eat that thing. It was a smart one. He was old. He must have been hooked before, Or something.
It's amazing what that little piece of styrofoam can do.
It is amazing.
It's funny how they can look at all the chunks and say, "Nope, that one's different."
Yeah, it is amazing. So that was hooked. That was my first year. Then when I hooked up with Phil Lewis, who was the owner of my boat at the time, we made a great team, and we caught a lot. We went out to the canyon, caught a lot of big eyes. My bait, we caught so many bluefins inshore, the mediums, trolling, because I'd just get ballyhoo and mullet, and I knew how to rig them, And one of the second-generation captains, Michael Potts, he come up to me one day. He goes, "Could you please show me how to rig a ballyhoo?" And he was a little forward, but we ended up still being friends to this day, and I showed him how to rig a ballyhoo.
That's pretty cool. I got to give a couple shout-outs here. Jeffrey Wilson has joined in and said, "Rudy!" He's also said, "Another Castaways graduate."
Yes, sir. Born and raised in Baker's Hall over and graduated from the Castaways.
There you go. I also see Marina Smith says, "Hi, Captain Skip."
Right back at you, Marina.
And I got to give a big shout out to Joan McGilvery, Mum. That is Captain Curtis's mother. When I go giant tuna fishing in Nova Scotia every year, she's our mom. She makes sure we get fresh haddock every 3 days, whether we want it or not. And I want it.
I would want it too.
She gets up at 3:00 in the morning and cooks this haddock for us. Ooh. And Curtis picks it up around 4:30, and we bring it out to the boat, and that's our, for that day, we call it our seafood day. We have seafood chowder, fresh haddock, lobster rolls. Yes. Oh, wait a second. I see Vicky Ridgway Rudolph in the house.
Yeah, that would be that. That's my other half.
That's your other half. I am watching.
I am eternally grateful to her for pulling the rum bottle out of my backside.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And Captain Jake Jordan has also joined us in. I want to hear another one of these bluefin tuna stories, because I know when I first started fishing as a living, or at least for pay, my first job was out of Fire Island Inlet. And from Florida, where the Gulf Stream is half a mile away. I go to Fire Island Inlet, and they're like, "Okay, well, it's 97 miles till we start fishing." I'm like, "What are you talking about? 97 miles?" So it was a big eye-opening experience for me at 19 years old. So tell us, I would love to know some more Montauk stories, a little bit, some of the big ones that you have seen besides just giant tuna, or you can stay on the giant tuna. I'm okay with it.
No. The big eye tunas actually, and them big giant. We caught a yellowfin tuna. If I want to say it was 225, and it was a monster for up there, you know. And that thing pulled harder than if yellowfin tuna got to the size of giant tunas. You'd have to use a crane. I mean, they fight so much harder than the bluefins. But we'd go out to the canyon and we'd get the big eyes. The big eyes were a lot of fun because whatever you had out there back then in the early 80s, whatever you had out there, and there wasn't that many people going out there. We were like, it was us, the hooker, the Joe on the Gannet, and I'm trying to remember Larry Keller's father's boat. Oh, the Bronco Explorer. There was nobody out there. You wouldn't. All you'd see was a few commercial boats, but you'd get whatever you had out there, including the teasers, would get eat. When they came up, it was like depth charges. Boom, 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 boom. Now you got everything on. Now the best we could do is because they all go every which way. But I was by myself down there where we got 4 out of 6.
That's still not bad.
They cut each other off because the line gets over the top of the other line. It saws right through it. So those were a lot of fun. The white marlin were a lot of fun. We caught a big 608 14-pound pressure shark, and that was a fun for the tournament. We won the Montauk Boatmen's Association tournament with that fish. I had my regular guys. They come with me every year, but they're into inshore fishing now. But that was our regular shark team. As far as some of the funnest stuff, I just got to say is it's hard to beat them bluefins.
It is.
I'll tell you one more, and I'll get off the bluefin.
Well, actually, there's a request for a bluefin story here on social media. I don't know if you know which one, but it says, have him tell you about the story of the tuna in Gloucester with Freddie. Look at your face light up on that one.
Well, that was after I'd gotten on the private boats for 14 years. And Freddie, it was right after Hurricane Andrew. I went to, I got called by Mel Immergood, who had the Grander. He's big with the Bill Fish Foundation and everything. Unbelievable angler. His wife, Barbara, unbelievable angler. Anyway, so it's right after Hurricane Andrew. They need a captain. Oh, my captain's back. It's getting, it's got to get operated on, blah, blah, blah. Can you come up? Yeah, I'll come up. So I met Freddie. We were both, never knew each other. Well, we got to be the best of friends. And I think that year we had the third largest amount of school bluefin tuna tagged that season. We were number 3. And so in 97, 98, 99, I went up and did the bluefin tuna thing. And Freddie was my mate. Now, which one should I? I'm going to
tell them all. Tell them all.
Geez, we'll be here for all night.
Listen, we're not paying for airtime, so go for it.
No commercials.
No commercial, other than the West System Epoxy,
except West Marine.
Exactly.
No, anyway. So I'll tell you the one. Okay, so I was working for a guy by the name of Jerry Abrams. He started the East Coast Tuna Association. And he's still alive. He's still kicking. I went and saw him this winter. He's 80, 84, 85, something like that. And anyway, so we go out, and I had my wife and my older daughter rode out with us that day. All day long. We'd go to this spot called Pigeon Hill. We would net all our own bait. We'd put the gill nets down on the bottom, let them soak for a little bit. We'd bring up the herring. Then we'd rod and reel the sabiki rigs to catch the live bait herring. We caught all our own bait and everything. We didn't buy a bait. And so we're there all day. And we're getting a few marks, but we can't get a bite all day. So we start winding them up. It's 8 o'clock at night. It's time to go in. The tuna closure was at 12 o'clock midnight. We couldn't come in after 12 o'clock with a tuna. So we start winding them up. And all of a sudden, Ralph was on the I'm trying to think. Freddie's going to kill me for forgetting this, but the pig. He had a. Anyway, Ralph's boat hooks up, and he's about 100 yards away from us, and it was just us and Ralph. So we marked on the machine. We put the baits back out, and boom, we're on. We hook up. This fish was a screamer. It ended up being dressed like 6. It was an 800 plus fish.
Wow. And
we finally, at night, I had my wife on the wheel. I came down to harpoon it. It took 3 times. It's dark now. It's 10:30 at night. And I miss, I throw it. Finally, and Freddie's yelling at me going, "Come on, Quee." And with his Rockport accent, cheeseburger. Anyway, I finally get him. We get him. Our little block and tackle thing wouldn't bring him through the tuna door that we had rigged. It was flexing the aluminum on the bimini on the hard top, on the bimini top. It was. I was watching. I said, we can't do that. So my older daughter, who was I don't know, 10 or I forget how old you were, Delia. I know you're listening. Hey, use that anchor thing. Use that winch thing on the bow. So we got the anchor rope. We bring it all the way down the side of the boat. We tie it to the tuna. We drug him through the tuna door with the windlass. And that was my baby daughter's idea.
That was good job because she's right here.
Well, we got to the inlet. We got to see Mark Gottfried, Lord have mercy on his soul. He passed. He was the tuna buyer. He was a great guy, great friend. We get to the dock at 10. It was like 10 to 12. And we were able to unload it, and we got in just under the wire. But that was a really Freddie and I caught some really nice fish. We were a really good team, and we had a lot of fun doing it, you know.
Your daughter said she was 10 at the time.
Ah, I said that.
Yes. Hey, he get extra bounty points for that one. He remembered.
I said she was 10. By golly, there's hope for us all now.
Listen, you did well. You did really good on that one.
Yeah, I did. Thank you, Lord.
So, and it's so funny because I see your wife is chiming in on one side and your daughter's chiming in. I've got a couple different windows open, and let's see. It's Jeffrey Wilson says, Sushil saved the day.
Yes, she did. This is her laptop. Yeah, she loves all the praise you can give her still, Jeff.
Ask her, Jeff, why don't you ask her about the burrito she was eating for lunch before we got online?
Look pretty damn good.
What kind of burrito was that thing anyway?
What kind of burrito was it?
It was from Naturally Good. It was health food.
Oh yeah, she doesn't eat meat. It was some kind of bean burrito of some sort.
Yeah, that's like non-alcoholic beer. It's
It's
not
chicken.
It's not. Just tell her I said 10-4, little buddy.
That's funny.
Your daughter says she has pictures of said burrito. So boy, if you have your whole family sitting around you, why don't you bring them in on camera? They can sit with you.
Well, no, Delia's at her house in Hampton Bay. Vicky's inside. She's fixing spaghetti sauce tonight.
Oh, it's spaghetti night?
But if everybody wants to see a live Ridgeway, hey, Vic, come on out.
Yeah, and I got to give you another compliment as well. So because of everything being closed down and everybody's broadcasting from their home, I was watching, I don't know if it was ESPN or somewhere, somebody was outside and there was a bird chirping and the guy was apologizing, but I loved it, and I can hear all the birds chirping in your backyard. It's so cool to hear it.
I think this area here was all tomato and potato farms, and it's just like an aviary here. In the morning when the sun first pops, just first light, they really get to cranking, and I'm blessed. I got lucky with this. You gonna say hello to everybody?
I thought
this
I
is
heard.
Chester.
Hi, Chester.
He's 19 years old. He's an old man. He's got a big mouth.
Like the rest of us. I see your daughter answered Paul's question. Paul's question was, are you guys going out on charter yet? And I'm going to let you answer that.
Nope. We are locked down till, I think I heard the 16th. Somebody said the 13th, but I could have sworn I heard the 16th. My boat's ready to go. They were nice enough to let me stay on the beach, so to speak. I'm hauled out still, and I want to go in. I'm probably got to go in next week. I got people that want to go, but I've heard that if you go against the thing, that they're going to pull your permits, and I can't afford that. So I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go at some point. I can't sit back. Most of the people I take are families. They're living together. They're together, and I mean, the Lacatas, the boys are still in the house. Everybody's still together, so they come as a family. They're in the house. They're fine. I'm up on the bridge. Everybody wears a mask. I mean, what's the big deal? And we're out in fresh air. The only way you can get this thing, you notice most of the cases are people that have been locked up inside. You know, you're outside in the fresh air and the heat and the sun, and the newest report is most of it's in your nasal. So if you feel you've been somebody, you drink a couple of glasses of hot water or breathe in a hair dryer for 10 minutes, you're going to be fine. This has gotten
wait a second. Hold on. Time out. When was the last time you breathed in some hot hair dryer?
I had to go to rehab for that.
Just
kidding.
Blow dryer. I'm
never. But that's what I heard.
Now here, and this is brought up a good question. Paul brought up a good question. If you wanted to go fishing on your own, just for fun fishing, not like you and your family, can you go fishing? No paying customers.
I believe if I want to take my family out, they'd have a hard time stopping me because we're all in the house here together.
But there's, I don't know. And your daughter just said, "Oh my God!" I hear somebody say "Hi, Fly." Oh, you need to get more on the camera. I can't. Everybody can't. I can see you.
I don't know if I can. All right. How are you?
I need you even close. I can see you fine. Move, or just get on the other side of your husband.
No.
Yeah, there.
I need you just so everybody can see you. Oh, hi, Vicky.
Hi, Fly.
How are you?
Good.
Excellent. What kind of spaghetti sauce are we having tonight?
Actually, I'm making sauce just for eggplant parm for tomorrow.
For tomorrow. So you're just making. You're just making gravy.
You're making gravy.
You're just making gravy. Okay.
Gravy.
See, yeah. I'm well traveled. It's not just internationally. I've been up and down that East Coast once or twice.
Yes, you have.
It's gravy.
It's good. It's good gravy because we have our garden going, so we got all fresh herbs. It's all awesome.
That is all. How's the tomatoes coming along?
Oh no,
they won't be till the end of July.
Yeah,
we just got them. It's been the coldest spring up here since anybody can remember. Since I can remember.
Really?
It's been the coldest spring. Yeah, so much for global warming. But
that's a whole other story. I don't want to get into that.
No. But it's they're coming along good now. It's finally warmed up. But we were locked down. So what I did was I built the chicken coop and I rebuilt all the beds and redid the whole garden. So we got 10 Rhode Island Reds. They're going to be giving us eggs here shortly. So that's how I did. That's how I utilized my time.
That's beautiful. Now, I of all the comments that are coming in, this one I have to specifically stop. Big shout out to Patty Ross. She says, "Hello, my beautiful best friends. Doing a great job, Skip." So,
hi, Patty.
Hey, Patty.
And you do know she's going to kill us for calling her Patty.
That's right.
Yes. No. And I instigated because I still, every time I see her on here, I know, but I can't do that. I can't. I'm
all into that.
I suck. No. I'm an influencer. I sucked you guys all into it. Patty said hello.
Uncle Fly.
And the best part is, not only did I say it once, and then you guys each said it, we have since repeated it at least half a dozen times. So,
but I've heard Penny say Patty.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
No, it's Pat.
I know, but it's hard for me. In my phone, you all came first, so I guess that means we're allowed to say it. In my phone, that's how I have it down. That's how I have it down in my phone. So I'm waiting for a big knuckle sandwich to show up as an emoji on my phone as a text message.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming too.
And poor Kenny is stuck in Costa Rica.
Yeah, it happens. You know, we've all been stuck in different places over the years.
Yep.
I know when this thing was first starting to come out, I was in Japan. I was supposed to go to China, and I decided, you know what, I better not go to China, so I didn't. And then my time in Japan got done, so I'm like, I'm going to go to the Seychelles. I had a tournament out there, and then there was a reported possible case. I'm like, man, if they shut down this island, there's no way for me to get home.
Wow.
And the closest piece of land is Kenya. So I'm like, there's no way. So I got out and I did my tournament in the DR real quick, and I haven't moved since. I have been right here in front of this computer The first 10 days I started going a little stir crazy, and then I just started talking to my phone and everybody on Facebook. And then now I figured out the software to use to interview all my friends to talk about what they're doing. And
you're doing good, man.
No, I enjoy it because you know why? We have our fraternity. Our fraternity, we have so much information, and the average guy doesn't have access to it.
Right.
I mean, you have your charter clients, which I'm sure they follow you on Facebook or social media, and they see
They're following us.
Yeah,
they're on the air right now. They're following us. They're amazing. They're great.
and
We love. They become more like friends and family
Yeah, we're friends.
than clients.
I'm really blessed. I really am blessed.
no, and but for me, I have so many friends like you guys that have all these clients all over the place, but they don't have access to make it global. So, and especially now when so many people are locked down inside, they want to hear some fishing stories. I don't want to hear about what the news is saying. I want to talk about fishing. Whether it's talk about what we're going to do when we can go fishing or what we used to do, or let's talk about it. And I know me. Go ahead.
No.
The old time school IGA, like you see these old time reels that were the old, like from the 40s and the 50s, and the Bimini, Bahamas, Cat Key, Chub Key, all these stuff. It's just amazing to see these old reels, and nobody, unfortunately, will ever see that again. But we have to make it again. We have to totally make it again.
Well, it's part of our history.
Oh, totally. Yes.
Yeah.
Paul just chimed in. He says this has connected so many people from all over the globe. I know I've seen a couple of the people that watch from Cameroon. They're in watching today. I see Devon. He's in Cape Verde. I've already seen Craig Sparrow in here, and he's from Australia. Cindy Mumford is in here, and she's in Costa Rica. Cindy's here. So, I mean, if you look at this, because of
like
social
media, family.
It is. And
we are.
Yeah.
And
we're all got salt water rolling through our veins.
And this is the best way for all of us to kind of get through it together and help each other. And
and thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
No, I love it. Listen, I've been doing just getting people together to tell stories, and then as you start telling stories, you get a phone call. Hey, we're going to do this raffle, which I need to bring up again. We already did it once. We got to do it again. And then next thing you know, we talk about FFO. And actually, yesterday I spoke with Captain Mike Puller. I don't know if you know Mike from Key Biscayne, and he puts on.
I've heard of his name. Yeah, I don't believe I know him. I've been gone a long time.
Anyway, he has a charter boat down there in Cramden, and he puts on every summer. He puts on 6 weeks of fishing camp for the kids, 3-day fishing camps. And when I told him that you and I were going to talk today about the FFO and save the charter boats, he said, you know what? Call them up at FFO and I'll donate one class for one of the veterans. So I called up Vinny this morning and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm going to put you in touch. I'm going to put you in touch with Mike Puller. It's up to you guys. I don't want to deal with all that. You guys figure it all out and get one of the kids out there fishing to teach them about fishing, teach them about our sport, not just the education but the conservation side of it. There's just so much that goes involved in our industry, and there's so many kids. Wait a second. There's a little conversation going on the side here. It was people want to talk about Jeffrey's giant swordfish he caught the other day. So
you can't blame him for that.
No, but he did. It was Brian Johnson that had asked him about it, and I see Billy Black. And now is this? I wonder if now Billy, is this the Billy Black from the Duchess?
Yes, It
no,
is.
No, because I have like 3 of them that follow me. They're all Billy Blacks. So I have to always ask because
Walkers?
Wait a minute, did they clone them?
No, there's like a bunch of them that are called William Black, and one of them is an artist. And if I don't put on my cheaters, I can't see the avatar.
Duchess?
I hear you.
So hopefully he can answer back and let me know. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, there was a Billy Black, and I asked, "Hey, is this the Billy Black from the Duchess?" He says, "No, wrong Billy Black." And I said, "Okay." But it's a great way for all of us to come together and tell our story. And I know for me, the way I first started doing this, I felt that this was a great opportunity. This is Billy Black from Sebastian. I told you there's a bunch of them out there. That and Bobby Browns. There's a ton of Bobby Browns out there.
Yeah.
There's a ton of Bobby Browns.
In our life, there's only one Bobby Brown.
Yeah. So I also see Mark Pagano just joined in. He's watching. Wait a second. No clone treasure hunter. Wait a second. Is that you, Billy? No clone. That might be the real one. That might be the real one. So, and like I said, I got Mark Pagano just joined in, and Brooke. It's all about helping people out and stamping out the bad in the world. And that's why we call this the No BS. I don't want to hear no politics, no bad stuff. No. This is all about, I got to give a big shout out to Mr. Hero. Mr. Hero is one of the board members from the Japanese Game Fish Association. He's watching as well. I just saw his light come across. So this truly is global as we all watch this and share our fishing stories. I just got a notification that I'm going to get a message or a picture of you in the water from your story.
Richie Makowitz.
Richie Makowitz. Yeah, well, you said the name of your show is No BS. So
absolutely.
He's just keeping it real. He's got my back.
That's it. We don't want no BS. And I told you before, this is just like sitting on the dock, having a cocktail, telling stories. I'm trying to figure out the software that I need to get 4 or 5 of us on here at the same time.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It really would be.
Split the screen.
Zoom.
But the software that I'm using doesn't support Zoom. So what I do, just so you know, when I capture you on here and I send it over to a read broadcaster, and we're getting broadcast across 9 Facebook pages, 2 YouTube channels. Yeah, so it gets this giant reach, and it's one of those things that as this progresses, more and more people say, "Hey, Fly, would you mind broadcasting on my channel as well?" So I'm like, "Sure, not a problem. It's content. It's great stories. It's helping out the charter guys. It's helping out everybody, and it's just breaking up the monotony of." This isn't canned content. It's not a production. It's just some fishermen sitting around talking BS and telling our stories.
No rehearsal, no makeup.
Yeah, no. This is it, man. This is... listen, I tell everybody, it's so bad that I brush my teeth in the dark every morning because I don't want to have to look at this.
No. What I say is, I still feel really good for my age. And... I feel great. I get up in the morning. I don't feel any different than when I was 30. But when I go into the bathroom to brush my teeth and I look in the mirror, it all goes to hell.
So, number one, I'm going to remind everybody that tonight on Save the Charter Boats group, they're going to be raffling off numbers. Or should I say buying numbers so that they put their numbers into the raffle for an opportunity to go fishing with you. And that's going to be at 8 o'clock tonight. And then I also want to throw in there that underneath your name, everybody can see it, is your website. So you can't see it, but everybody on Facebook, your website's on there. And it should be clickable. It might not. Just cut and paste it so that they can go to your website. They can follow you on Facebook. It's Adios Boat, because that's where I stole your picture from. And you're lucky I didn't steal your hubcaps, so just your picture. And Brooke just put up Save the Charter Boats. They'll do giving out the numbers tonight. Then to pay for the tickets, it all goes to your PayPal account, and then tomorrow night gets the raffle. So and then it's a lot of fun. If you haven't done it, I know I go in there and I cause a lot of trouble. I go in there and I try to
get beat.
I'm trying to make sure that I get Cody gets his ass whooped by his wife by that yardstick. I mean, I didn't realize that there was this rule, but she was really quick when she said, "Hey, if anybody repeats the same number again, I'm gonna hit them." I'm like, "Wait a second, now you did it." Seychelle just posted up your Facebook page, so guys, hit that, follow them. So Brooke also wanted me to remind everybody there's 75 chances. There's 75 squares to buy at $30 per number. And again, that money goes straight to you. It doesn't go to Save the Charter Boats. They just organize it. And I
have to say this. Fly, thank you so much.
Cody and Brooke.
Cody
are the bomb. And so is the FFO. And we really appreciate all you guys doing what you're doing. And thank you so much.
You are very welcome. It's Brooke and Cody that took this on, and then they got FFO. I just talked with Cody and Brooke one night and said, "Hey, listen, we're doing this thing live every day. I do it every day, and I talk with fishermen every day. Why not get the fishermen that are going to be part of it?" So number one, you get an hour's worth of marketing and exposure out there, because you know what, people they may not be traveling to Europe this summer. When everything opens up, they may just say, "You know what, I'm going to take the ferry and go from Rhode Island or Connecticut over to Montauk instead. I'm going to go fishing for a couple days." So, and if nothing else, maybe it's somebody for next year. You never know. It's like all this stuff is like it's like planting seeds. You never know when it's going to sprout up.
I tell you what I've done is on the fishing note. What I've done the past 5 years, they just changed the regulations now. There's a slot size for the striped bass. You can't keep them if they're under 28 inches, and you can't keep them if they're over 35 inches. They have a slot size. You keep them in between. But I've been releasing these fish for the past 5 years. I tell the people, take what you want. Take what you need for your family to eat, and release. We'll do catch and release, and then we'll go do something else. And I troll a lot for them, so the fish get hooked right in the corner of their mouth. The live baiting is a little trickier. They tend to get hooked deeper. I have people that like to do it and stuff, but they don't want to use wire. We use a lot of wire trolling. So what I did was I incorporated the downriggers, and I used light rods with the downriggers, and I just used outrigger snaps.
Oh, and pops right up.
Pops right off. Next thing you know, you're on the thing, and they get hooked right in the corner of the mouth. They come up. We take a few pictures, keep what they want to eat, and we've been releasing the rest, which is really, the customers have gotten into that. They like that. Now, the black sea bass and the fluke, you take those, you eat them, the limits are set for them, But still, with 6 people on the boat, you catch 7 per person later on in the season and 3 per person in the beginning of the season. You're still going home with a bag of fish like this.
A big old bag of fish.
So, there is regulations are necessary because there's so many more people on the planet, But you also got to do it yourself. And
absolutely.
Make it fun. And they get into it. The customers, they're into it. Like, wow, we take pictures, we let them go, send them back alive, give them a kiss, like Jimmy Houston used to do.
Woo, son!
Yeah, that's a nice one.
That's it.
Love you.
To this day, I did it for the first snook I ever caught. I was 14 years old, and I kissed it and let it go. It was half an inch too small. And to this day, every time I release a snook, I always give it a kiss.
Yep.
Oh, wait a second. Mark Pagano is asking, what is the size minimum for fluke now, Skip?
19. It's the same as it was last year, Mark. And I'm glad you're still kicking there, buddy.
Well, you know what? It didn't help when
19,
I posted.
We're allowed 4 at 19,
Good night,
Mark.
guys.
All right.
Bye, Vicky. Thank you, Vicky. And you know what? It's really not fair after I posted a bunch of pictures of him in the hospital last year.
Hey, fishermen never die. We just smell that way.
Yeah, amen to that. Amen to that. Let's see. Connecticut, 28 to 34 inches, 1 per day. Hudson River. I'm assuming that's striped bass, 18 to 24 inches. That's from Paul over in Connecticut.
Wow.
I think that might be for striped bass. I don't think that's for fluke. If that's for fluke, that's a big one.
That's a big fluke, 24 inches.
Yeah. Pagano says, "Wow, that's a doormat."
Doormat.
Listen, if you're gonna harvest one, there better be enough meat on one of them for a couple of people at least.
Oh yeah. Once you get into the double digits, those fluke are they fight funny, you know. But right as they get up to the surface, you better be ready with that net. You gotta kind of lead them into it like a dog on a leash, and they'll do that little wiggle thing, and they'll flip that hook right at you, you know.
I'll tell you what, if you've never dip netted a fish, it's not like
a gaff.
It's not like a gaff. It's a whole different way of thinking about it. Oh, Logan Ross just joined in.
Logan, everybody.
So, kick the cat, Uncle Skip. I don't know.
They used to get me in so much trouble. They had this cat, and it was a skittish, crazy cat, and so it would claw you. And so they come up to get me one day on my leg, so I gave it a little push aside, and those two boys cracked up. They had me crying. I was laughing so hard. So they'd come up to me secretly without Pat hearing them. Kick the cat, Skip.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. That is so funny.
I can't believe he remembers that.
Listen, I was just talking yesterday. It's amazing what. Oh, you know what? I told this story, but I wasn't online yesterday. So we had taken out, while I was still on the reel tight, we had taken out Carl Yastrzemski's 2 daughters.
Wow.
And for those of you that don't know, Carl Yastrzemski was a player for the Red Sox. So we took out his daughters and all the grandkids. Well, one of the grandkids, he was like 9 years old. He was seasick. All the other kids, I think there was like 8 of them. All the other ones were fine. This one, poor kid, he's puking up all over the place. And the mom is like, "Oh, here, eat some crackers. Here, have a Coke. Here, some Dramamine." Keeps trying to push junk down his throat, and he keeps throwing it up. She's calling the pharmacist. What can I give him? So finally, she tries to give him, I don't know what it was, ginger ale or something. And says, "Just ask Fly. Fly will tell you. That'll make you feel better." And the kid looked at me. "Fly, is that true?" I go, "Buddy, the only thing that's going to make you feel better is hugging a palm tree." And they were dumbfounded. They didn't know what to say. And I went back to tending to the kites. Well, anyway, by about 2 o'clock, this kid is crying, yelling out, "You don't love me. You want to see me die. You love my brother more." So we wrapped it up. And we start going inside the inlet, and we're pulling the boat into the slip, and as I'm getting the first line, the stern line on, this kid literally bolts out of the cockpit and takes off, and I'm like, whoa, where the hell is this kid going? And he runs about 20 feet, jumps on the first palm tree, wraps arms and legs around it, and it says, "Fly, you're right, I feel so much better." And I'm like, well, I'll be a son of a gun. He took me for my word, and he remembered it. And he went and he hugged a palm tree. And I'll bet you to this day that kid still thinks that palm trees cure seasickness.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, whatever it takes.
Hey, listen, whatever it takes. Now, before we run out of time, Skip, how did you get involved with FFO, which is Freedom Fighter Outdoors?
The yard, one of the head mechanics at the Gone Fishing Marina, because I hauled out there when I had to rebuild the boat. I needed the shed, and the people, it was Maureen and Tom Senefelder owned Gone Fishing Marina, and they put me in the shed, and they could have really just charged me oodles of money for being in that shed all winter. They let me work in there some nights till 8 o'clock, and I started the project on March 13th, and my first trip was July 20th. Everybody in the harbor had bets. Oh, he's never going to make the season. Anyway, it was it wasn't quite finished. There was no headliners. There was a whole lot of bear, but I could go fishing. Anyway, Bobby DeBeglio approached me, and he said, this was back when it was the first year it was Wounded Warriors. And then he said, I got this thing where they're going to do a little thing. He says, I need a charter boat. Would you like to donate a trip to the vets? And I said, yeah, man. I said, I wanted to go in the service, but my dad, being an only child, he talked me into staying on the boat with him. My draft number for Vietnam was 11, and they canceled the draft. And I felt it was, I said, I'm in. I didn't even hesitate. I said, yeah, man, I'm in. And then the next year, I said, I'm in. And then last year, I ended up doing 3 trips. I did the 2, and then I got contacted by a absolute wonderful gentleman named Mike Ansel, who puts in and donates to these vets. He pitches in a lot. He's really a good soul. And he called me up. He says, yeah. I said, the captain that was supposed to take him was ill. And I said, I'll be glad to. I'm in. I'm in. He says, well, this is a sponsored event. You're not donating. I said, I don't care. I'll donate. No. He says, you're getting it. You'll be taken care of. I said, well, that's not necessary. He says, no. He says, I'm the guy doing it. I said, okay.
I'm not going to fight with you.
But I have to owe it to Bobby DeBeglio for getting me involved with it. And it's been, I made a lot of good friends. You hear a lot of stories that you'll never hear on the media. And we are so lucky to have these guys that care so much about this country that they lay their life on the line for us. And there's a lot of people that are very unappreciative of that. But let me tell you, if it wasn't for guys like them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now.
Amen.
And I'm just so glad that Bobby contacted me. And we've been doing it ever since, and we have lots of laugh. Hopefully Ken Weinhardt, I guess you haven't heard from him yet, but he just moved out to Michigan, I believe. But he's hysterical. He's one of the regular guys that goes on the tours and helps contact the vets, with the PTSD, the post-traumatic thing. And all right, yeah, I always mess that up. But PTSD, okay.
Is that from the burrito lady?
Yeah, that's from the burrito lady. She's pissing in my ear. Anyway, but she's helped me out. But anyway, just the guys are just a great bunch of guys, and we just last event last year they had to cancel it this year, but last events last year they had the band, and we were all there, and Sal Sawaski had it at his house. He donates his house. He buys all this food, barbecues a pig. It's just so many people involved. And Sal is a saint, and his wife too. They're just absolute great people. But they had the live band there, and that was what I sent you. Is that they played one, and I jumped up there, and I said to the girl, a girl was going to sing it. No offense, but Leonard Skinner's song. So I said, man, I know every word to it. Would you mind if I sang that? She goes, no. And she handed me the mic. So
did they take the mic?
You had all out there singing it with me. It was great.
Did they take the mic away from you once you started?
No.
Okay. Because that's happened to me. Oh, can I sing?
Yeah.
Sure. Here's the mic. I start singing. They're like, give me that back. Give me that back. I don't want you singing no more.
No, everybody chimed in. And as this guy said, this poor guy Rusty, he's in a wheelchair. But you talk about an attitude of positiveness and just gun ho. He's an inspiration for people that aren't handicapped or messed up. He's just a happy. He's a great guy, and he has to operate the wheelchair with his one. It's. But you talk about the camaraderie and the overall group event of positiveness. It saves lives. But countless vets just can't deal with it, and the suicides are more than people know, and we can't have that.
No,
we can't have that.
So, and
I'm blessed to be part of it, and that's how I got it.
And I'm happy to hear that they're going fishing. I'm a little partial to that. I love more and more people to become part of our sport. It's something that I'm very passionate about. So I love to hear. I love to hear new people coming into our sport daily. It makes it again. It's like a fraternity. We've talked about it more than once today. So it's a big thing.
Well, we got to pass the torch off to somebody. I'd like to see more of these kids getting into it. Because who the hell's going to take over after? I'm going to stay kicking. I'm going to climb up on that bridge. I told you earlier. As long as I can get up that pole, I'm going to be up on that bridge.
So I listen to this, and I want you to listen close. Just as a contingency plan, the day that you can't climb up that pole, would you consider chopping the pole, chopping the bridge, and making it an express so you don't have to climb up there?
No. I'm going to get an electric one of them little electric chairs they use on the stairways so you see people going up there. And that's how I'm going to go up there. Because if I'm down in that thing, and I love my customers, I love it. You'll get a new guest that comes along, and he's going to be in my face. I'm trying to make the pass over these bass and catch a fish. And I'm going to be 20 questions in my ear. No, that ain't good. And I'll be like 90 then. I'll be like 90 then, so I'll probably be a little short. And we can't be like that. What do you mean I won't be here?
I won't be able to hear.
Oh, I won't be able to hear.
What'd you say?
Yeah, that's what she said. She goes, oh, you won't be able to hear.
Who cares?
Well, that would be a blessing. Just turn off the things. Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with the captain. He ignores me all day long. No, he shut off his hearing.
No, it's just overall safety. We have a lot of fog up here, and you really have to focus sometimes because we have a lot of people that it's not like Florida where you go 365 days a year. We got just them 4 months that people go, and there's not a lot of experience sometimes, and you got to be extra careful.
So we just have a comment that chimed in. Your wife says, "I am not hauling his ass up that gin pole."
Wow. Wow. For better or worse, baby.
Too funny. All right, on that note, Skip, you stay right there. We're going to sign off. Everybody, hit that share button if you wouldn't mind. Make sure you check out tonight Save the Charter Boats to get the opportunity to get one of those raffles numbers. Also, follow Freedom Fighter Outdoors. See what they're up to because it's an all around the year thing. They do it in Florida. They do it in the summertime. They do it all over the place.
Hunting in the fall, everything.
Whoa! Wait a second. Hold on. Stop the presses. We get dun, 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 dun. Hey Skip, my father-in-law's electric chair is available. All you have to do is come to Glen Cove and uninstall it. You got donated a chair, dude.
Man, I'm telling you.
How awesome is that?
I'll be right over.
You just got donated. Yes, we're coming together. This is awesome.
I ain't quite ready for it yet, but
well, you know what? It might be one of those things you just keep that in the shed until it's necessary. No, fight it. That's what I have to say. Just keep fighting it.
That's right.
So, alrighty, all you cool cats and kittens, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, everybody.
Remember, tonight is Save the Charter Boats. Check it out. Get an opportunity to win a trip with Captain Skip on the Adios. Also,
it'll be memorable.
Also, look up your Freedom Fighter Outdoors here on Facebook. See what they're doing and join in, if nothing, just for a good laugh and a good cheer. Listen, Mark Pagano says make sure it's 12 volt. Just saying.
It has to be 12 volt, Mark.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Hey, Cecile, she wants she wants the remote control. Do you want to give her the remote control?
Hell no.
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 So, anyway, all you cool cats and kittens, thank you so much. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it tomorrow, but I might. If I do, it might be just a solo trip talking to you guys. But stand by, set that notification. Joe Turner just jumped in there and said, "Haul over legend there, Cap."
Thanks, Joe. Still kicking, buddy. We're still kicking.
There we have it. All righty, guys and gals. We will talk to you later. Anybody else? And I've had a couple of the guys that are on here reach out to me about doing some interviews. I know we're going to get Scott Edgar in here from Alaska. He runs a charter boat out of Ketchikan, Alaska. So anybody that wants to jump in and tell their story, I would love to have you on here. So everybody, peace out. Skip, hold tight, and we will talk to you guys later.